Today on the podcast, we're glad to have travel advisor Kim Cook of LoveToTravel from Overland Park, Kansas, join us today. Kim, welcome to the program.
Thanks so much. I'm excited to be here.
We're glad to have you. Thank you for joining. Before we really get started and dive into questions, we're going to talk about all-inclusive resorts and selling all-inclusive travel. Would you give our listeners just a little background on you, yourself, and your business?
Of course. Yes. I started LoveToTravel back in, 1993. So, and was home based at the time. And then we moved into a storefront location in 2013, which we've been here ever since. My husband is also my co-conspirator in this LoveToTravel business. And so we work together, and then we have a staff of 5 that help us with all of the planning of all-inclusive vacations. But
that's great, yeah.
Yeah, we specialize in honeymoons, destination weddings, family vacations, and that's primarily it. We do some group trips for celebration travel, like 30th birthday, 40th birthday, that kind of thing. But we don't sell any cruises or Europe, so our niche is really the all-inclusive resorts in Mexico and the Caribbean.
That's great. Yeah, that's why we really wanted to have you on. That's kind of your specialty. You actually just visited some all-inclusive resorts. So first question I want to ask, how was your experience flying internationally?
It was relatively easy. We didn't have any issues at all. We flew into Cancun, which at this time does not require any COVID testing, just a short health questionnaire. It was very easy. The airport was not busy. The flight was pretty full, though, going into Cancun, but everybody wore a mask. It was required, obviously, and there were no problems with people wearing a mask at all. And when we got to the airport, continued with the mask wearing all the way to our resort. And then at the resort, all the employees had a mask on, but we were not required to wear a mask in the public areas. So it felt very relaxing. It was easy to social distance because the resorts are not at capacity. And so they had all the chairs, restaurants, everything was spaced out so that it was very easy to feel safe.
That's great to hear. And I think one of the big questions we've been hearing on our side, both as a media publisher in the industry, as well as the agents that we speak to and their clients, a lot of the questions come around if they're going to really concerned over whether or not the all-inclusive resorts are going to be different, what's going to change, or people not going to want to go to them as much because they feel they're going to be so much different. So I know you touched on a lot of it right there. Was there anything else specifically about your experience at these all-inclusives where it felt like it was going to be different? And do you think that stuff is going to stay like that forever, a certain amount of time? Like, what was your experience?
Every resort's a little bit different in how they're implementing the protocols that they're required to do. So I think the main question we get is like swim-up bars. Are the swim-up bars open? And that's really resort by resort. Where we were, the swim-up bar was open. And there was no difference in how that felt other than there were a lot less people around the swim-up bar. Other places are not opening their swim-up bars, but increasing the service for poolside and beachside so that they can maintain that social distancing. The other thing is the restaurants. For example, with only being at 30% occupancy, they didn't really have all the restaurants open at once. So they would open them 2 at a time. And so we did get to experience each of the restaurants that you just had 2 choices each night, which worked out fine. And again, they were never crowded. A lot of the restaurants that do require reservations that do not require reservations, we're requiring reservations. So that, and just so that they can maintain the number of people in the restaurant and it could flow easier. So if they knew they would only have a few people at 6, a few people at 7, a few people at 8. So it wasn't a big deal to make the reservations, but that was something a little bit different, which normally a lot of these all-inclusives do not require reservations. So other than that, I mean, it felt very normal. I mean, it really did. We had a very relaxing holiday and we, had service and it felt wonderful. It really did. So not a lot of difference. And I think all-inclusives are uniquely set up for social distancing and to feel safe, because people don't have to go off the resort to for dining or drinks or activities. It's all provided in one location. So they don't have to get back on a vehicle and go somewhere different, which, might be a little unnerving to them. I don't know, but it felt very safe to us.
That's good to hear. Yeah, safety is obviously key for a lot of people. Well, one area that all-inclusives excel at is destination weddings. You are a wedding and honeymoon specialist. Huge area of all-inclusive resorts. A lot of changes have happened with that, with everything going on with the coronavirus pandemic. So how's that going now with places that have reopened? What's the scene like for destination weddings and honeymoons for those interested? Are you getting interest from that from clients? What are you hearing from supplier side? Very curious on that side of things.
Oh, sure. On the destination weddings, it's been kind of a mixed bag. Unfortunately, we've rescheduled most of our destination weddings, which is tough because, as you know, those are big chunks of income for us, when you have so many people traveling in the group. But we do have a destination wedding that's going in July, and we're very excited that they're going to go to Mexico. But most of the rest of the destination weddings have rescheduled for a later time. We have a few for the fall. But the problem with that is that you're dealing with a large group of people. So within that group of people, you're going to have young people that are getting married, their friends, but then you also have their parents, you have their grandparents. And a lot of them are not comfortable traveling at this time due to their higher risk for COVID. So it really, it just depends on the group and, the makeup of the group and the ages and their comfort level in traveling. Because just as you probably know people that are ready to get on a plane and go travel, you probably also know people that are not traveling till, this COVID thing is gone, and there's all the levels in between. And so just like that, the guests are the same way. People that are invited to a destination wedding, some feel very comfortable going, others, there's no way they can go. So that's really hurt, I think, the destination weddings for now, because, they just can't ask their guests to go. Some of them have rescheduled to just like a honeymoon, and they're doing just the two of them getting married. Others have rescheduled for next year, which is great. And then we've also had 3 new destination wedding bookings for next year just in the last couple of weeks. So that's great news. I think once you get to the resort, it feels very comfortable. There's no limit as to the number of guests that they can have at the destination wedding. So I know right now in a lot of the cities, you can only have up to 10 or 20 or 50, depending on the city that you live in. So it does allow them to have as many people as they would like to have. And again, a lot of people are getting tested before they go. So again, that helps people feel safer too.
So as a destination wedding, honeymoon specialist, even selling all-inclusives, what would you say the bulk of the questions that you're getting from clients are about? Is it related to the health and safety protocols? Is there anything else specific in there that you get a lot of questions on right now?
I think right now it's the protocols, because a lot of the all-inclusives that we deal with as well are in the Caribbean. And so the Caribbean islands are handling things a lot differently than, say, Mexico. They have a lot tighter protocols. They're smaller islands, and so they have to be very careful about letting all these tourists in and not causing a pandemic in their area. So I think that's been the main thing that we've been working so hard on, is just to give our clients the information. For example, in Jamaica, they're requiring that you have to fill out a health authorization form, which most of the islands are. Some of those health authorization forms require a negative COVID test. So that has to be downloaded into the form, and then you have to be approved to even come to the island. And you have to carry that paperwork with you because you won't get on the plane if you don't have it. So each island has very specific protocols. And as you guys are aware, that's changing constantly. So initially, like in June, St. Lucia was going to be very strict, 72 hours for a negative COVID test, which was virtually impossible to get within the results within 72 hours. And you're talking about most of these are honeymooners. So not only within that 72 hours are they waiting for a COVID test, they're getting married. So, it makes it a little tough to, adhere to that guideline. So they've, scooted that back to 7 days, which is nice. And so we've had several St. Lucia honeymoon couples for July, and about half of them are still planning on going. The other half have rescheduled. But the other thing is the individual islands, a lot of these resorts they have to be COVID certified. So if a resort's not COVID certified, it doesn't open. So we've run into that a little bit with the Sandals resorts in St. Lucia. Only one of the 3 resorts is COVID certified. So anybody booked at the other resorts is either moved to the one that is open or we're rescheduling. So there's just so many factors in play, and it's so important for these clients to be able to rely on us to give them that information. And not to interpret it so much, but to give them the actual links for them to read, send them the forms to fill out, and make sure that they know everything before they commit to going.
Definitely. That's why having a travel advisor is so key, and working with one is so important, especially in the age of COVID right now. So for the travel advisors that are listening right now, what sort of advice would you give them when it comes to selling all-inclusive resorts and handling all these changes and new protocols?
Gosh, well, I tell you, one thing that's really helped us is just to research each island, and make sure that everyone in our office knows the protocols. And we check it almost every day because honestly, it does change daily, weekly. And so it's important to know, what's going on each of the islands. As I mentioned, we also send the actual links, the forms. We make sure that they have that. With all of our couples that are traveling right now, we're in constant communication with them. So these St. Lucia, we've probably sent them 5 or 6 emails in the last 2 weeks, just updating them on what to expect and make sure you've got this. And, the other thing we're doing is reaching out to our individual resorts, because we know the managers, we know the sales managers at these resorts. And so I just got a note back from Sandals Emerald Bay in the Bahamas, just asking the resort manager there, what's going on there? What's it feel like on the ground? And what can we do to advise our clients so that they have a good experience and no surprises? And one important thing that he told us was that there's different types of COVID tests, and they weren't going to their resort, but a couple of people came to the island and did not have the right COVID test. I think they had one that was testing for antibodies, which was not appropriate, and they had to be turned back. So again, these things can be devastating for a honeymoon couple. And if they're not informed, it could ruin their whole trip. And so it's just really important to be honest with the clients as to what to expect and not try to gloss it over or make it sound easier than it's going to be, but to be very, very honest, get the facts from the resort itself and find out, any tips that they have. Find out if their pools are, if the swim up pools are open, how many restaurants will be open each night, what's the occupancy for the resort, what are they allowing, so that the clients know that, they may only have 2 restaurants to choose from. Again, just being realistic and honest with the clients so there's no unexpected surprises, I think is the most important thing.
Absolutely, I agree. And speaking, from my own personal experience, my wedding and honeymoon got in just under the gun right before all this happened. Early March is when I got married, and we went to Antigua for our honeymoon.
Oh my gosh.
And we flew out of JFK, and this is when hand sanitizer was the big thing, not masks. But we had to cut it 2 days short because Antigua, there wasn't we weren't 100% sure that the airport was going to remain open. It closed shortly after we left. But everything that's going on in the wedding, definitely keeping clients informed of the most up-to-date information has got to be the most, helpful thing, especially when they're dealing with all the wedding stuff around that, which is a whole nother animal.
Whole other animal, as you know.
Yeah. So you were speaking a lot about, suppliers and having that connection and talking to people there and getting all the up-to-date information because it's changing so fast. Is there anything else that you think would be helpful for suppliers listening, suppliers that will watch this interview, that they should know from their side that they should be providing to the advisors that they work with?
I think the main thing is just flexibility in the planning. Sandals, I'll just use them as an example because we've been dealing a lot with them right now. Because the resort was closed, they're allowing people to move their honeymoon at the same price. So let's say a lot of these clients are wanting to move to April or May, and the price is higher than it is for what they've paid for July. So if the resort is closed, then they're allowing them to move at no additional cost. So they're kind of freezing that price. So I think just working with us, and so that we can do what's absolutely best for the clients, the suppliers, keeping us informed. A lot of times, we get surprised by, information that we see somewhere else. Maybe it's on a Facebook post or whatever. And we're like, oh, that resort is not opening apparently. That would have been nice to hear from our supplier first. But a lot of times they're being restricted. This information's coming at them just as fast as it is us. And so it's just important for the suppliers to keep us informed, because we're the ones keeping the clients informed. And specials, it's great to have some good specials to offer to these clients, either to keep their trip booked or to, reschedule it for another time so that we don't lose it. Our goal has been to reschedule people rather than refund. And that's helped a lot, because we've got people rescheduled for the fall and for next year. But I think just overall, just for travel agents in general, we all have different levels of comfort in terms of traveling. I was ready to go. I couldn't wait to get to Mexico and wear my mask and then have some relaxation time. I think there's other travel agents that they're not traveling till next year. Their comfort level with this virus and everything going on, they're not comfortable. And our clients are the same way. So I think we all just have to be really patient with one another. We have to listen, especially to our clients. If they're feeling uneasy at all, the last thing we want to do is, try to push them into a trip, or again, glossing over what's actually going to happen when they're there. They need to know so that they can make an informed decision. So for all of us, we just have to decide what the risk reward is for traveling right now. And personally, I'm ready to go again. So.
Hey, I'm right there with you. So hopefully going to Cancun at the end of July here. So I just traveled domestically this past weekend. So yeah, it's a different experience wearing a mask and everything. But it's like you said, I think it's all personal preference and how you feel, and just ways to attack the new normal, so to speak, on this. So everybody loves a good deal, and working with a travel advisor is a great way to get that. So Dan, anything else you want to ask him here?
No, I think we covered pretty much a wide range of things as it comes to all inclusive. Kim, is there any final notes or thoughts you'd want to share with any advisors listening in general, like working through this time? Any business tips that has helped you?
Well, we've been very active on social media, which I think that has helped a lot, just to keep our clients informed. When I was in Mexico, we did a couple of videos just to explain the whole process, a lot of listing of information, and just not to give up, and just keep staying, in touch with your clients. We've been trying to, reach out to some of our clients that we know that are, less risk adverse to travel, that are always ready to go, and just let them know some of the good deals. We had a great deal, probably 3 weeks ago for Unico in Mexico, and we booked like 10 different people, 10 different bookings for this special. And I mean, people are looking for a great deal, and there are people that want to travel. So it's finding those people that want to travel and realizing that not everybody's in that boat. But just going after the ones that are, and they might, making sure that they know it's important to use a travel advisor, especially what we've all gone through with COVID and the cancellations and, being there for our clients. And so anyway, we'd love for it to get busier, definitely for this year, but we're realistic and just trying to do the best we can and stay informed ourselves and also informing our clients the best we can.
That's great. And I think I saw a comment from a travel advisor on one of our Facebook posts the other day saying, talking up travel advisors so much, especially with everything that's happened. Because a lot of things going through you have your own personal help here, as opposed to if you go through an OTA, like Expedia, Priceline, something like that.
Exactly.
The advisor said, if you want to call them, have fun sitting on hold. Exactly. You can text and call me anytime you want. So yeah, definitely something to keep in mind, and a big push for travel advisors, which we do on this podcast regularly. So.
Oh, well. And we appreciate that so much for you guys too. I mean, just, reaching out to travel advisors, because again, not everybody's comfortable traveling. I've gotten a lot of great information from Facebook pages that are just geared towards travel agents, and they're posting their experiences, and letting us know what it's like if we haven't been to St. Lucia yet or Antigua. And it really helps us being able to inform our clients. So just staying informed, staying, on social media, listening to podcasts, getting as much information as you can. So
that's good. Yeah, information is key right now. Everyone has such large concerns. So there's a lot of pent up demand to travel as well. So if you are wanting to do that, like we said, the best way to attack that is by using a travel advisor. So
absolutely.
Kim, thank you so much for joining us. Let the people know how they can get in touch with you if they would like to reach out.
Sure. Our website is LoveToTravel.com. We're on all of our social media at LoveToTravelKC. And we'd love to answer any questions that anybody might have. And good luck to everyone. I know it's a really tough time, and we're all in this together, right? So,
That's right. That's right. Thank you for joining us today, Kim.
Thanks,
We appreciate
Eric.
it.
Thanks, Dan. I appreciate it so much. Have a good day.